behind Embiid's monster 42-point performance. And then afterward, Embiid and Marcus Smart traded, let's call them, some verbal jabs after the game, allegations of flopping. Yeah, which, of course, you can imagine you get into a conversation about flopping with Marcus Smart. That's fun. Fizz, is this scheduling tweak we have during coronavirus where teams play each other? We're seeing a lot of sort of back-to-backs, even though they're separated by a night of teams. It used to be like, oh, we got to circle the date in March when these teams meet again. It's like tomorrow or tonight.
I like it. I like it a lot because especially for reasons like this.
Yep.
When that first game is chippy and competitive and go down to the wire and it gets a little confrontational, well, you can't hide or talk mess and think that it's all going to go away because it's coming right back the next day. So I'm looking forward to seeing this game and how competitive it gets. But I really like the schedule the way it is. It's been fun to watch.
But situations like this make it must-watch TV. You know what I mean? Like, you're not, like I said, I don't have to wait 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, 2 months to see you. I'm going to see you in a couple days. So back up what you were talking about. So, I mean, it's going to be that energy is going to be at a high level. And those are just two good competitors. I don't know if you want to talk about flopping. I love Marcus Smart, but that's part of his game and his DNA.
Which he talks about.
Yeah, right. You know what I mean? So, but I've been on that side where you've played a great player and he's taken more free throws than our whole team.
Yes,
so
which is what happened.
Right. There's some frustration there, and I get it. But like I said, you're getting to see him again tonight. So instead of, if he's going to flop, make sure he earns it. Give him a hard one.
Here, let me just ask this. You can't really say what you want to say about flopping, though, can you?
No, I hate it. I hate it.
You can say that.
No, but not what he really.
You got to tune into all the smoke. See how I hate flopping.
A little more cursing allowed there, okay? Cable on Showtime and the podcast. I'm just saying. There you go. I mean, look, I don't know how much, too, you have your boys in your ear. Like, I mean, I think right after there's a little confrontation. I'm not even talking about Marcus and Embiid, by the way, because there was no on-court confrontation there. But we've gotten to see with these, like, pseudo back-to-backs that guys kind of get into a little bit.
I love it.
And then, Matt, what is it like for the next 24 to 48 hours?
You can't wait. You can't wait. Like I said before, you would have to wait and you would cool down.
Right, I was going to say.
You don't get no cool down now, you know what I mean? So like I said, all those is just a verbal back and forth. These guys are both still going to be ready. Their teams are going to have their back, so it's going to make it funner. But like I said, I love the fact that you're going to have to back up what you were just talking about in 24 hours, not 2 months.
Yeah, it does.
And this gets a little bit of the edge back a little, too, because in the bubble, guys were doing this kind of stuff and then getting on buses to go back to the same hotel and the same elevators. Here, you got that animosity still.
Some eras you couldn't do that. Like the 80s, 90s, you couldn't get on the bus.
That would have been
a fight. It would be a whole fight.
They would have flipped the bus over.
It's going to be a whole fight.
Very bad.
No way.
Fizz, how much do you do adjustments differently when you're seeing a team right all over again 48 hours later?
You make some slight tweaks. Okay. Obviously, you got to make some, but you still have to stay true to what you do and what you do well. But you definitely got to make a quick adjustment. And that's the reason I really like this back-to-back schedule is because you can really simulate playoff situations.
There you go.
Right?
Yep.
I used to tell my teams when we played a team back-to-back, look, Game 6, Game 7, we got to have both of them to win the series.
Right.
And I would just get them in that mindset. And I think this gives coaches a lot of opportunities to start to simulate playoff situations.
That's really interesting.
And back-to-backs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that. All right. Up next, stick with us. We're going to look ahead to another rematch game from earlier this week when the Nets take on the Cavaliers. Are we going to get a 140-point game again? First, though, time for our second distant replay of the day. This one. And from three-point range, as well as 91% from the free throw line. You are looking at a list of players to achieve a 50-40-90 season. Because 50-50-90 is too absurd. We don't have a list for that. So, Zach, are you buying or selling? We'll set the bar at 50-40-90 for Paul George. Zach, you got me?
Well, I can tell you right now what I think.
Go.
Yes. I think this guy is he's got like a chip on his shoulder after all of that preseason talk. And you can see it. Look at how he goes to the basket. We was talking about the way he attacks the rim. It's like, I dare you to jump.
Yep.
Because I'm going to posterize you.
Yeah.
And he's not leaving without a foul or a bucket or both. And that is the PG that people have been worrying about, especially with that team and the way that T. Lue is utilizing them. I really think he can stay on track to hit that landmark.
Yeah, I think if anything, maybe to 45, but I think it'll be higher than 40. And he's on a mission. He came on the podcast earlier this season. He looked in the camera and said what he was going to do. But to be honest, the only way to kind of forget everything is to do this in the playoffs.
That's all it's about.
And I believe he will. You know, he really was big on the last year before. He didn't get a chance to have any kind of training camp workouts because he's coming off 2 bad shoulders. So this year he got a full for what it could be, time to work out, and he's definitely, coming back for names this year.
I love his attitude this year. I love that it started with taking accountability because I think people needed to hear that from him, and he needed to do that for himself. He's a high character guy. He needed to do that, and then to go out and say, I know I got to prove it to people. Watch
me do it.
I love it. All right, we don't have Zach Lowe right now, but we do have Zach LaVine scoring 5th in the league in scoring 27.5 points per game. Only Brad Beal, KD, Steph Curry, and Dame are averaging more. So, Coach Fizz, do you buy or sell him finishing the season in the top 5?
I'm either going to be a rich man or I'm going broke because I'm buying. This dude is a walking bucket. I think there's no question about it. This guy scores in his sleep. The next shot is his best shot. That's how he looks at it. And he is hard to keep away from getting to the shots that he likes. And so the way that coach is using him out there, I can easily see him being a top 5 scorer.
Absolutely. And I'm buying as well. And he can get it however you want it. He's someone that attacks the basket too, can get it off the post, can get it off his mid-range, can get it off his 3. And like Bradley Beal, he's someone at the trade deadline that could be a big piece that helps one team get over the hump.
Well, that to me is going to be the key on whether he stays in the top 5 in scoring or not. If he doesn't get traded, he has a chance to stay in the top 5 in scoring.
Right.
If he gets traded to join a contender, you have to think then some of those numbers will adjust.
Where do you go to school?
He'll sacrifice. UCLA.
Oh, I'm just checking.
He was a quick in and out, but he was definitely there.
He's a Bruin, though.
Yes.
It counts.
This guy, he's serious business. When it comes to scoring, this guy is serious business. And, man, do I love it when he gets a breakaway. He is exciting.
I also appreciate the way he's approached the game, approached some, frankly, difficult years in Chicago, even with coaches maybe who didn't come in respecting all of the players. He tried to work with every coaching staff he's been handed. He's doing well with Billy Donovan right now, so props to him for all of that. All right, lastly, let's go to the Lakers, who allowed the fewest points per 100 possessions of any team in the league. So, Matt, do you buy or sell the Lakers having the best defense in the league all through this season?
I'm buying everything today.
We're going to either be rich or broke, baby.
You guys are going to hold stock, and we're going to check back with you.
And the one thing about the Lakers is they're an older team, so it's not so much about that one-on-one lockdown defender they have. They have great team defense, and Fizz will tell you that's very important to have placement, rotation, talking, everyone playing as hard as they possibly can, and that's what makes you a number 1 team defensively. So I'm definitely buying this.
He said it as well as you can say it. This team's connected. They got veteran guys that you're not going to trick ever. And the thing that stands out to me the most about them is their role players really get after you.
They know their role.
Like they pick you up. They climb up in you. They're getting deflections. They really communicate. You're talking about Bron, who never shuts up. Marc Gasol, one of the great. He's a defensive player of the year. Right? You got Montrezl Harrell back there who can bark. And
AD.
so AD, these guys are connected, and I think that they want to be the best team in the league. The only thing that's going to stop them is if they keep blowing teams out and they don't play in the fourth quarter. That's it. Because otherwise, I think they're definitely going to be, if not 1, right up there at the top. So I'm buying.
They'll be top 5 regardless, but I think 1 is where they can stay just depending on the course of the season. It's a long season, so their goal is to stay healthy and be ready for the playoffs. So that means sitting people or blowouts, whatever it may be. They may slide a little bit.
They make you take the ball out of the net. Number 2 in second chance points, 8th in points in the paint. They break every time when they get the ball, so they always set their defense. So that's what makes them miserable to play against.
And to me, this is where, of course, approach and talent meet. And look, the Lakers, when they got together as a team at the beginning of last year during training camp, we looked at their individual defensive numbers, and even LeBron. I mean, it was not great going into last season.
We got some clips of him shortcutting, don't give me.
And so there were questions about how they could defend, especially perimeter defense, and those were fair considering what those guys had done going into that season. Now, they, of course, had AD coming in. That's a huge different presence inside. But they committed to team defense in a way we frankly hadn't seen most of those guys do in previous seasons. And they, from day one, LeBron came in from day one.
Said this is what it's going to be about.
This is what it's going to be.
But here's the other thing that we're not talking about, and I know sometimes this gets lost in the shuffle because they're so talented and so great. Frank Vogel is one of the best defensive coaches in this league.
You are right.
It was a nightmare playing against him out in Indiana all of those years. It was like playing in mud, and now he's got a supercharged offense team to go along with those defensive principles. So you got to give him and the staff credit as well to really get this team engaged enough. night in, night out to compete on the defensive end, and now you see where they stand.
Matt, is this the model for the Nets?
Yes. Piece by piece, coming together. And I want to add on to what you said, because Vogel took a lot of heat coming in. Everyone, this is Jason Kidd's team, or this is LeBron's team, this is that, and Vogel Vogel just sat back. He's applied what he knows best, and he's gotten out the way and letting these guys create within it, and that's what good coaches do.
Yep, absolutely. Amen to that. Interesting to watch them. All right, guys, that's the closing bell. The stat market closed for the day. We will be back with another edition soon, and Fizz and Matt don't have anything in their wallet. Zach, unfortunately.